Hello my friends, welcome to another episode of Game Testing Unlimited. My name is Wilfred. So it's been a while since I've made a video because I've been overseas having a holiday, and it was a good one. So during my holidays there was news on my feed saying that this game called Palworld is doing really well. Early access and is beating all the records until I think right now, as of today, is the second most played or highest concurrent player on Steam. And bear in mind that this game also is on Game Pass, so that must be something right about it. Over 2 million plus concurrent players on the record level. So I thought to myself that maybe it is a game worth looking at it. It's kind of cute. I like the cartoonish, kind of colorful setting. I'm not really into survival open world game or crafting or base building, but I'm kind of happy to give it a shot, mainly because another game that I was also very interested in, I am still very interested in playing, is the V Rising. So I played a little bit of that in my channel before. I was at one point I was really crazy over it because, well, look, it is the vampire. And there aren't really a lot of good vampire games, action game, third person or isotomic. There aren't really that many of them. And it's kind of surprising to me because I thought there's a lot of untapped potential when it comes to vampire, playing as a vampire. So, and I did enjoy that V Rising in the past a lot. But I put it aside because it is still early access and the game's sort of still evolving. And I usually go into a game, play a little bit of early access, and I rest for a couple of months or a year or so, then go back there again to try out, just like last Epoch as well, which is I played the early access a little bit, quite a number of years ago, and just waiting for the 1.0 patch to come out, and I'll go back in again. So same as for the V Rising. Because I've decided to purchase Palworld during my holiday, and I came back and installed the game. It was fun. I lost track of time. It's colorful. You capture creatures a little bit like Pokemon kind of style. You bring them to the base. You set up the base, and if the creature has certain trait that they can do, be as cooking or watering or just mining or so on, or transporting, crafting, they can do the stuff around the base as well. Initially there aren't really a lot of things to do, but as I build more structures around the base, the creature or the monster or creatures, the pals would then go around doing their own business and helping you to water the plant, to harvest, and if you have chicken, they'll lay eggs, and you have food, and you maintain the food supply to sustain you and the base. And I like Palworld in the sense that it is not very difficult. I would say, at least not at the early game. It's very accessible. You don't have to be rushed in a certain scenario. Unlike, say, other survival games I've played, like Don't Starve or even Eat Lurks Below, whereby as time goes by, it gets more and more difficult. Now, I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, because for roguelike kind of game, that is the design philosophy, that as time goes by, the challenge become more upon you. So like for Don't Starve, for example, after you pass a certain number of days, there are greater threats that come and disturb you. But for Palworld, seems to me that it's still pretty accessible. You can just pace yourself out, do a bit of experiments on the base that you have, capture some creatures here and there or pals here and there. Observe their traits and gather material as well, try to explore the area around as well. So yeah, I kind of like it, and it's a pretty interesting, relaxing kind of game loop. And I've seen other, I've read up articles on what others can do. It seems to me that there's a lot of potential for you to explore, to play, and the way that you want. And I resisted in reading up the internet too much, because otherwise you just rush onto the most optimal path to build a base, or where to build a base, or which pal to get and how to breed them. So I want to leave that, have the magical moment, if you get me. So like back in the World of Warcraft day, I always like to use that as an example. The first couple of months was the most magical one, when you try to explore things and discover what you can and cannot do. But as years go by, you become very optimized and look at what's the fastest way to complete certain tasks, and get on with the best gear and so on. So I try not to do the same for Palworld, and just experiment a little bit, right? I mean, as you can see, I'm still very early in the game, trying to capture some creatures here and there, or pals here and there. But yeah, I mean, certainly there's a pretty fun factor to it, I would say. And then I reinstalled V Rising. The V Rising is very similar to Palworld, but also very different in a sense. Hear me out here. For V Rising, you don't collect pals, but what you do is you collect V blood. So there are some foes or bosses on the map, and they wander around, just random places, and you hunt them down, and you strike them down, and you extract the V blood to gain the power and to gain knowledge to do certain things. So that part of the hunting is really kind of like fun. So in Palworld, you capture pals, but in V Rising, you hunt for the bosses, and they tell you how to. They will give you an indication of where the location is. So that's one thing unique about V Rising. Another thing about V Rising I like is the whole day and night cycle. So at night, you, as a vampire, you can move around freely to anywhere you like to go. But during daytime, you have to kind of like move from shadow to shadow. You can't be exposed under sunlight for too long. And it make it really interesting that you have to time your attack and to see when to take in more risk in striking your foe, or when to just pull back a little bit. So I kind of like that part about day and night cycle. There's also blood moon as well. You see on this clip that I'm showcasing to you. The blood moon is when all your stats become very strong, and it doesn't happen all the time. You have day and night cycle, and you have blood moon kind of like cycle as well. And all in all, just like Palworld is about building up the base and decorating it the way that you want. And I I like it that way. I kind of think that the V Rising is more flexible in maybe I haven't rediscovered Palworld too much. In creating the base, you can rearrange the object pretty easily. You can destroy them, refund all the material, and build other things on top as well. So I kind of like that part. And both game, I also struggle with the whole gathering part of it. I think gathering is really important in a survival game, but not necessarily something I would enjoy doing back and forth just to gather more stones or gather more wood. Both games do that to run into some automation. So for example, in Palworld, you ask the Pal to do all these things for you, and in the V Rising, you kind of like load the material into the machine or refinery that they will automatically churn out the end product that you want, and all the products are listed out there, so you kind of know that what combined with what become what. So that's for V Rising, but both have automation as well. As you can imagine, you can't really stay there and craft, and it just costs too much time, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, I kind of like, I get the whole thing. I found that the whole back and forth between the both game can be a bit time consuming, I would say, especially for V Rising. The getting from one place to another is not that easy. You can teleport as well, but there's certain really strict restriction on what you can carry when you teleport as well, from what I remember. And the distance can be quite wide. How punishing the two games. I found that the Palworld so far is not that punishing. I've yet to be defeated, even at early game. So, and I haven't really come across, I'm not someone who go after the bosses that are like many level above me, so I'm not really that keen on that. So Palworld seems a lot more casual, I would say. V Rising though is really tough. It has a kind of roguelike feel to it. So if you're, I think I'm pretty sure the same as Palworld, but for V Rising, if you pull the wrong group, for example, you can end up in a very difficult situation, especially when you get rooted or jailed, and there's the sun as well. And if you get defeated, you have, just like Diablo or the old school ARPG, you have to go back to your corpse area to retrieve all the items again. But at least they give you all the weapons and gear still there for you. So yeah, I mean, I think the V Rising is a lot harder to make. So you have to make every move count, and make sure you make the right decision where you're going and so on. Both games also require me to go back and forth to gather material, come back to a stash and so on. I'm not necessarily a big fan of inventory management. You guys know me. I've very little patience for inventory management. So yeah, I mean that is so far what I have for the both game. As for Palworld, my goal is to, well, there are many goals there. My immediate goal is to get my base expanded a lot more, get more pals, variety, and get them to do a little bit more funky stuff, to just automate the entire base. And I'll see how it goes from there. Maybe take down a tower once I feel that I'm strong enough with the right kind of setup. As for V Rising, oh man, that is a long journey there. I found that I'm still probably looking at the 5% of the map, and there's still so many bosses to capture as well. The location and the crafting is still a long way. And I'm sure once I upgraded my castle to be the enclosed, and mind you, I have done that before they I've done that in the past before they reset all the progress due to a major update. But once I get the castle going, and I think it'll be a lot easier, because during the day cycle, you just go back to your castle in your safety away from the sun and do your own thing, crafting and so on. And during nighttime, you go out and hunt. So that is usually the game loop to it. So I'm keen to see how both turns out, and I'll provide more update as I go along. And do I enjoy and recommend the game? I think the good thing about both games is that they are not that expensive compared to a lot of AAA games, right? If you look at the Diablo, the latest one, even the basic edition costs a lot. There are other things, like Ultimate Edition as well. But for Palworld and V Rising, it's not that expensive compared to those AAA games, and rightly so. Also, I mean, Palworld doesn't have microtransaction right now. I don't know whether they will have it in the future. The only DLC I can see is the soundtrack and so on. For the V Rising, the DLC are more cosmetic, so you could decorate your castle in a different way, but not really a content DLC. I mean, both game hasn't come out of the early access, so I kind of like it that both game do not have microtransaction to kind of like make money out from you, or you feel that there's certain content that is being gated from you unless you pay for that. And both games are reasonably priced, and a reasonable quality as well. I haven't really encountered anything kind of like game breaking in either games. V Rising has been around for a long time, so yeah, I mean, I would like to. I mean, I would recommend both games. I say Palworld if you like something colorful, more casual, more creative, I would say. Palworld is good. If you want something more challenging, more dark, play as a vampire, V Rising is great as well. I enjoy both. But to be honest, this genre is not my genre, and I seldom play any game that is like a survival game, just a few others. and I don't think I'll venture into some of the newer ones as well, which is released. So yeah, that's it for me for now, and I'll keep you posted as I progress further in the game. And if you have any kind of tips or comments you would like to leave for me for either of the game, and do drop me a note below. And if you have some other opinion about these two games, happy to interact with you in the comment box below. So take care, see you next time, bye.